recently been playing Devil Jam, and it might be one of the most surprisingly fun top-down indie games I've played this year. It's chaotic, stylish, and full of energy in a way that really hits once you get into the action and understand all the moves you can do. I've been playing the full version early before release, and while it's not trying to reinvent the entire genre, what it does deliver is an incredibly satisfying rhythm-based roguelite that's easy to pick up, tough to master, and hard to put down once you get into the beat of it all. So here's what this game is about. In Devil Jam, you literally fight to the rhythm of the music. Your weapons attack automatically to the beat, turning every encounter into a kind of playable metal concert in the depths of hell. You don't need to mash buttons, instead you learn to flow with the music. It's fast, it's reactive, and it's got this great sense of chaos that just works. And if you prefer a little more control, there's an auto-aim toggle you can switch on or off so you can focus more on the rhythm or precision, which is totally up to you. The first thing that struck me about Devil Jam is how good it feels. There's something addictive about syncing every blast, slash, and explosion to the beat. The screen shakes in rhythm, the enemies explode in perfect timing, and you start to feel like you're not just playing a game, you're performing with music as well. The hand-drawn animations add to that sense of rhythm too, because every enemy, boss, and attack looks like it was animated by someone who understands metal as a language. Now the structure is roguelite at its core, so no two runs feel the same. There are over 180 quests built into the game, each throwing new challenges your way. Maybe you'll have to defeat a boss under certain restrictions, or survive a specific number of waves, or even mix up your build entirely. That level of variety really helps the game stay fresh. You can feel that the team took community feedback seriously since the demo, because everything feels more refined, balanced, and fluid this time around. Speaking of bosses, there are actually 4 in total, though only 3 appear in any given run, so each session keeps you guessing which ones you'll face. They're all hand-drawn, they each have their own music, and every fight feels like the grand finale of a heavy metal concert, which is also complete with lasers, fire, and screaming fans from hell. The soundtrack is a huge plus in this game, and it really makes the experience. It's that perfect mix of metal energy and rhythm game precision. Every weapon and quest has small musical references too. It's full of Easter eggs for music fans. You can tell the devs had fun layering meaning into the sound design. This is a game where the music isn't just background noise. It's actually the spine of everything that happens on screen. The inventory system is surprisingly deep too. You've got a 12-slot grid, and the placement of each weapon, relic, or item actually matters. Certain combinations create synergies that change your run entirely. It's the kind of system that makes you want to experiment again and again, seeing what builds break the game the most. Now I've got to give credit to the devs here. They're a small team, but they've clearly poured their heart into this. From the way they've polished the art and pacing since the demo to how responsive the combat now feels. You can tell they listen to player feedback. It's the kind of game that feels handmade, not just produced. If you're into roguelites like Hades or rhythm games like Metal, Hellsinger, you're probably going to find something to love here. It's not a massive AAA project. It's fast, fun, replayable, and it knows exactly what it wants to be, a chaotic, metal-fueled jam session with demons and bosses instead of bandmates. And honestly, this is one of those games where the more you play, the better it gets. Once you start unlocking more weapons, discovering different builds, and learning how to anticipate each track's rhythm, the gameplay starts to feel like second nature. The intensity ramps up fast, and when you nail a boss fight perfectly on beat, that's when everything feels just right. And for those wondering, yes, the game launches on November 3rd, 2025 with a 10% discount during the first 2 weeks. It's coming to Steam first, with console and mobile versions on the way soon after. Overall, Devil Jam is one of those games that reminds me why I love covering indie titles. It's not trying to outshine the biggest studios or redefine the genre. It's just trying to make something fun, replayable, and full of personality, and it absolutely succeeds. Between the reactive combat, slick art style, great music, and constant sense of energy, it's a perfect pick for anyone who loves roguelites, rhythm games, or just wants something fresh to play this fall. involved, and it's got riffs that'll stick in your head long after you stop playing. Check it out on Steam, the link's in the description and pinned comment. And honestly, after spending more time with Devil Jam, I can say it's one of those games that sneaks up on you. The more you play it, the more you start to appreciate the little touches, to the way the beat syncs with enemy spawns, the hand-drawn flourishes that pop off during boss fights, and even the moments of quiet between the chaos that make you realize how much care went into this world. It's not just noise and metal, there's actual rhythm, precision, and a kind of craft that shows the developers love what they're doing. I also really appreciate how much the developers have built around community engagement. They're constantly active on Discord, listening to feedback, adding tweaks, and challenging players to beat their own internal records. It gives off this old school indie vibe where the devs and players are building the experience together, and in 2025, that's rare. What's cool is that each run feels like a small story. Maybe you start strong, grab the perfect set of items, and suddenly the game clicks. Or maybe you get wrecked halfway through, but you still come out with new quests, gear, or strategies to try next time. It's that addictive just one more run feeling that makes roguelites so hard to put down. I also really appreciate how much the developers have built around community engagement. They're constantly active on Discord, listening to feedback, adding tweaks, and challenging players to beat their own internal records. It gives off this old school indie vibe where the devs and players are building the experience together. And in 2025, that's rare. So of course, Devil Jam might not be the biggest game on your radar right now, but it deserves a spot on your playlist, especially if you love rhythm, challenge, and that feeling of controlled chaos. Maybe a few months from now we'll be talking about how this little roguelike rhythm game became something much more ambitious than what was planned. Anyway, I've been having a blast with it. Remember, it drops on November 3rd, there's that 10% launch discount, and the Steam link is right down below. Make sure you check it out, and let's see who can claim the top spot in Hell's leaderboard. Now guys, I want to let the gameplay and music speak for itself. Here's a look at some gameplay moments.